morning. How are you? It is the day before Father's Day when we're recording this. When it goes out, it's going to be Father's Day. So happy Father's Day. Hope you guys got to say happy Father's Day to someone. And, yep, it's Father's Day for me. So the fun for me today is that my daughter Sophie is going to be reading your story today. And I think she might have a joke or two she wants to share. And so we're going to, or a song. And then also we're going to have a few stories from one of your friends from Water City and what they've been doing during this time at home. And so we're excited to hear from the Scottbergs in a little bit. So here we go.
Did you know creation is talking to you wherever you go and whatever you do? The earth will keep giving you clue after clue, so you won't forget to remember what's true. Like every day when the sun rises high, the warmth that you feel is God's love by your side. Oh, and just like the birds who keep humming their tune, remember God sings songs of joy over you. Don't forget to remember you're never alone, no matter if you are up high or down low. And as sure as the sun will keep rising above, don't forget to remember that you're dearly loved. And when you catch the snowflakes that fall from the sky, each of them whisper you're one of a kind. Oh, and after the winter and colder all through, the flowers remind you God makes all things new. Don't forget to remember you're never alone, no matter if you are up high or down low. And as sure as the sun will keep rising above, don't forget to remember that you're dearly loved. Just like the stars won't forget how to shine, don't forget to remember that all of the time God's light will guide you wherever you go, and your love from the top of your head to your toes. Let the whole earth remind you of what God has said, from the moment you wake up till you go to bed. Oh, and even on days you forget what is true, don't forget to remember God won't forget you. Don't forget to remember God won't forget you. Don't forget to remember God won't forget you.
Hi everyone, I'm Sophie, and I'm going to be reading The Boy Who Gave His Lunch Away. Joel lived a happy life down by Lake Galilee. We have a farm, he liked to say, for Mom and Dad and me. His dad grew barley, oats, and wheat for baking rolls and bread. What we don't eat we give away was what he always said. Joel knew what Father meant, for everyone needs bread. But why are some folks poor, he asked. when we are so well fed. It isn't fair at all, I know, but someday, Father said, the good Messiah will be here, and he will be our king. Then there will be no rich or poor, we'll all have everything. So Joel helped his folks at work. He rose each day at 4, and washed the pots and scrubbed the pans, and swept and mopped the floor. He helped his dad fill up the bags of bread to give the poor. One warm June day, a neighbor stopped to buy a loaf of bread. I'm on my way to see the king. He's right nearby, he said. A king, said Joel, right nearby? You must be fooling me. The stranger shook his head. I'm not. Why, people say that he is God's Messiah here at last. Why don't you come and see? Is this the man named Jesus, sir? Asked Father with a smile. Because if so, my son can go and see him for a while. The very man, the neighbor cried. You've heard of him, I see. I've heard he's kind and loves the Lord. That's good enough for me. You'd better take this lunch along, my boy, said his mother. I've packed you up 2 fish and 5 small loaves of barley bread. I won't need that, cried Joel. Why, the king will feed the poor. But Father told him, take it, son, as they went out the door. So up the road with lunch in hand, the two went with a smile. They soon came to a noisy crowd stretched out for half a mile. He must be near, we'll see the king in just a little while. That's Jesus there, a voice called out, and Joel turned to see. There stood a man as plain and poor as any man could be. He ran up close where he could see and hear what Jesus said. Is this the king, this plain, poor man? I'm glad I brought some bread. Then Jesus spoke, his voice was strong. Bring all the sick to me. And Joel stared as lame folks walked, and blind man cried, I see. As Joel watched, he saw the sick made whole and well and strong. Our king, a shout rose up from all who came along. Then Jesus turned and raised a hand and spoke out loud and clear. The kingdom that God promised you see already here. The kingdom the Messiah brings is full of joy and love. It's like a happy dinner that a king gives for his boy. The day grew short, and someone cried, I wish we had some bread. A man beside the teacher spoke, how will these folks be fed? When Joel heard, he ran up. I have some bread and fish. I'll gladly share them with the crowd, if that is what you wish. 5 loaves, 2 fish for all this mob? Asked one man with a frown. But Jesus took the food and said, have everyone sit down. We thank you, Father, Jesus prayed, and blessed and broke the bread. Then his disciples passed it out, till all the crowd was fed. A miracle, somebody cried. There's food for all to share. The helpers even gathered up 12 baskets full to spare. Hooray, hooray, the people cheered. Shall we crown him Jesus King? He'll always give us what we need, and we'll have everything. But Jesus turned and hurried off. He wanted no such thing. The end. It's cool that little boy brought his food, and then Jesus fed everyone with just 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread. I wish I knew how to do that. Okay, guys, I have some funny jokes for you. Okay, so why did the student eat his homework? Because his teacher told him it was a piece of cake. Okay, what did the big flower say to the little flower? Hi, bud. Last joke. Why do giraffes leave early from work? So they don't get stuck in a giraffic jam. Those are my jokes. I hope you like them. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Thanks, Sophie, for sharing and for sharing those amazing jokes. And make sure you share those with someone who likes jokes. Let's listen now to some things that our friends have been doing. Here are the Scottbergs.
Hi, everyone. The Scottberg family just wanted to say hi and let you know some of the things that we've been up to lately during this time when we can't go to our normal places and we can't go to church. So we've always loved getting to know our neighbors, and we think it's important to be a good neighbor. But this time in particular has given us a lot more chances to have conversations with our neighbors and check in on them. So we've been doing a little bit more of that lately. and I wanted to tell you a story about a neighbor we had at our very first house. He was our next door neighbor, and he was often working out in his yard, and he loved to chat. And when you started a conversation with this neighbor, you didn't know when the conversation was going to end. He could talk for a long time. And so sometimes I found myself avoiding him because I wasn't sure when I was going to get to go back inside. And maybe there's been a time like that where your mom or dad's been talking to a grown-up and you didn't know when the conversation was going to end. And so at first, I didn't see it as a good thing. And then I had a new thought in my mind. What does God want me to know about this neighbor? And what might God be showing me about him? Maybe God would be giving me a chance to show this neighbor some love and care on a day when he really needed it. And it turns out he really did. He needed a friend. And we got to know him a lot better. And now he's kind of like a grandpa to our kids. And we're so lucky to know him because he shows us love and we get to show him love. And God made that happen, which is pretty cool. So sometimes it can feel a little bit scary or awkward to start to get to know a neighbor. But I wanted to read you something that I read in my Bible. It's from Philippians chapter 2. And it says that when we are doing the things that God wants us to do, it can take energy. It says, but that energy is God's energy, an energy deep within you, God himself willing and working at what will give him the most pleasure. And so we started thinking about that as a family, that what might God be wanting us to know about our neighbors? And all we have to do is be willing to start a conversation, and God will give us the energy and give us the ideas of what we can do to show neighbors love and care. And also, then our neighbors have gotten to show us a lot of love. And getting to know your neighbors can bring some exciting and fun things into your life that you weren't expecting. Like today, our neighbor let us use her tractor. And so my girls got to ride on a big tractor because our neighbor shows us that kind of care and shares her things with us, and that adds a lot of joy to our life too. So my girls wanted to share some of the things that they've been up to, and maybe sometime when I see you, you can tell me some of the things that you do for your neighbors.
Recently, my mom and dad met one of our neighbors who was really, really sick. And the medicine he was taking made it sort of, I guess you could say, impossible to taste food as we do. So our family is giving him some really tasty food and snacks to help him.
So Midge, about a month ago, you and your sisters did something really amazing and wonderful for our neighbors. That was just a small thing, but it turned out to have a pretty big impact. What did you guys do?
On May Day, we had a bunch of flowers in our backyard and front yard, and so we picked them, bundled them together, and put them at each of our neighbors' doorsteps.
And what was the neighbors' reaction throughout that next week? Do you remember?
Nope.
So we had a bunch of people come to our house, or call us on the phone, or send a text message and just say that three little fairies had come and delivered just the most wonderful little bouquet on their doorstep. And it made such a difference in their day and in their week, and it was kind of at the height of everyone having to be at home for the stay-at-home order. So I think it was pretty special. How did it make you feel to do that for your neighbors?
I had a lot of fun putting it in my bike basket and riding to all the different neighbors' houses.
It's really cool, and it was just a little thing that ended up brightening people's day and week, and it made a big difference for them. Good work.
Thank you guys for sharing that. It's cool to hear what you're doing for your neighbors. And sometimes it feels like we can't do great big things. God uses the small things, big things, but a lot of times He uses small things that we can do just in our own neighborhoods and with the people in our lives right around us, to show them that we love them and to show God that we love Him by doing the things He asks, which is to love our neighbors. And so thanks for being with us today. Hope you had fun, and tell someone Happy Father's Day. So thanks for being with us. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.